Hey guys, hope you're well. Here outside a wild scene, outside the latest hearing for Luigi Mangione, specifically for his state charges brought up by District Attorney of Manhattan, Alvin Bragg. So I was able to sneak in for a moment, so I'll give you a quick rundown as to what happened. I would say I would rather be Luigi Mangione than Alvin Bragg at this moment, because Bragg was gunning for a terrorism charge, much bigger than just a murder charge, a second-degree murder charge. That was not granted. So the judge did not find that there was a terrorism charge that was valid whatsoever, but there was a double jeopardy effort. The attorneys for Mangione tried to claim that how could you be charged by two different entities, two different court entities, essentially for the same crime. But the judge ruled that there was enough of a difference and enough evidence where there would be no granting the double jeopardy clause. So these charges are officially moving forward. That was the big question mark. Would they get thrown out entirely? Would the terrorism charge stick? So the terrorism charge, apologies for my crazy hair, the terrorism charge successfully stuck. The double jeopardy charge, or getting the double jeopardy granted, that was not successful. But all in all, not a horrible thing. And if Luigi was only looking at these charges, he's looking at second-degree murder now no longer terrorism. So he could actually get parole in 15 to 25 years, potentially. So that's certainly interesting news that if everything works out in other cases, he can end up being quite successful. Even if he is found guilty completely, he might not necessarily be in jail for life. So that's certainly interesting. And this is what the judge said when dismissing the terrorism charge. Yes, the defendant was clearly expressing animus towards UHC and the healthcare industry in general. But his goal was not to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. Meaning, in order for it to be granted terrorism, you have to be attacking a wider population at large. You know, if you attack the subways, you're attacking the population. If you attack the infrastructure, you're attacking the population. If you're attacking one specific person, it doesn't really level up to the terrorism charge necessarily. And even if something is politically motivated, even if something is ideologically motivated, that does not necessarily make it terrorism. So that was certainly an interesting development. I'd feel more confident than I was before if I were Mangione, but of course, he still has to go forward with these charges. There was enough there where the judge did not deem it necessary to grant the double jeopardy clause, and the judge felt there was enough there to go forward with this case, which is interesting. Some things that didn't get discussed, which the attorney were probably hoping would be discussed, would be trying to get the evidence thrown out of the ghost gun that Mangione used in addition to the manifesto. Because the one interesting part of this case is that the manifesto and the ghost gun haven't really directly been connected to Brian Thompson's DNA. Yes, of course, the bullets might match, but there has been no real physical DNA connection, which is why to a lot of those shouting conspiracies, there might be some legitimacy if there isn't really anything tangible to tie anything on Brian Thompson's body to anything on Luigi Mangione's body. So that might be a case that they'll make. Another thing that might be interesting is, yes, Mangione is pleading not guilty, but could he change his not guilty plea to not guilty for reason of insanity? Could the entire system, could the lack of health care that his family member could not get, could that drive somebody to do something crazy? Could that drive them to insanity? So that's an argument that the attorneys may very well use, and it's interesting to talk to people because there's this odd division because everybody's cheering for Luigi Mangione, and some people feel he's a hero for shooting the CEO, but they're also saying at the same time that he's innocent. So it's a bit of an argument to make. If the guy was innocent and didn't do this so-called heroic thing that you say is heroic, then why are you such a fan of his? So there is a bit of an interesting contrast with that, where they want Luigi to be free, but at least they're saying publicly that they feel he's innocent. Now, this might all change if his lawyers change to not guilty for reason of insanity, certainly. But it's interesting to see the passion that people have, and the passion with people saying this healthcare CEO had it coming but then at the same time they say the guy is innocent. So that's an interesting contrast, an interesting negation in some way, but a lot of people are coming here. They feel they got screwed over by the healthcare system. They feel Mangione issued a wake-up call, certainly a controversial one. But there are a lot of people that think he's a hero. So he had a nice cadre of support. I would be more encouraged than Bragg if I were him. And then just to conclude, the reason that Alvin Bragg, I think, the district attorney in Manhattan, wanted to file terrorist charges is because he didn't want to be seen as soft to crime. He is a notably progressive DA. He's been attacked by the New York Post and other conservative publications. So I think it was a publicity thing. Bragg saw this low-hanging fruit, an easy case, and perhaps he can impress some of the conservative observers and indicate to them that he's tough. I really like alfalfa here. Indicate to them that he's tough on crime. And that didn't work. So I think Bragg wanted to restore his reputation amongst conservative players, amongst conservative publications, to say, look, I'm aggressive. I got this terrorist charge. I also ignored the hard left of the party, so I'm not actually that hard left. So a lot of Bragg getting, because remember, Daniel Penny, that was very controversial. That's the man who put somebody in a subway chokeholds. People thought that Alvin Bragg was too aggressive in charging Penny and wanted Bragg to be more conservative in a lot of these issues. So this might be the moment where Bragg wants to prove his conservatism, but it didn't work because it got thrown out, unsurprisingly, because there wasn't a concerted effort. It wasn't an attack on a population. It wasn't attacking anyone more than one person, quite frankly, right? He wrote in his manifesto he was thinking about doing a bomb, but that would kill innocents, or someone wrote in their manifesto, right? And so he even said legally, and that was smart. He wrote that because then legally it says he avoided doing the terroristic act and he did something else that was not a terroristic act. So that probably helped him. But yeah, that's the rub. He has a hearing on December 1st. I'll be there for that. November 7th, he has his hearing in Blair County in Pennsylvania. I will also be driving out there to cover that. And yeah, if you guys want to send any donations, I got my donation links. But thank you for your interest. I appreciate it.